You're the total package, buddy, and you know which one I'm talking about.
Hearing our voices, it means it's time for It's This Meets That, the podcast where we watch the worst movies from trailer to end credits, scene by scene, so you don't have to, but maybe you should. I'm Russ.
I'm Jared.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So we're back with part 2 of Del Clappa, the 2017 Ed Helms, Amanda Seyfried indie flick.
Yep.
That is
not in German.
Not in German. Might have been better.
Yeah, it probably would have been better in German, actually.
We left off tons of questions to be answered, right? Chris was just on the Stillerman show reading the list of demands. Eddie wants $1 million to appear in the show. Everyone laughs at him because that is a ridiculous thing to ask for.
Yep.
And then we're back into Chris's apartment, right?
The boys are watching the episode. Eddie is furious.
Yes, because
he's always mad.
Yeah, because he's constantly mad, and his friend didn't do something for him.
And Eddie says that they're going to jail, which I don't. I think it's just because they're dumb.
Yeah.
He's like, we're going to jail, and Chris is like, it's funny.
Yeah. What?
And then Eddie goes, I got to go home to think. And Stillerman's like, we're getting closer to the clapper, y'all. And then wraps up the scene.
And now we're at the gas station.
Surprise, surprise.
He's looking for Judy, runs into the Hercules there guy, right? And he yells at Eddie because that's what he just does. He doesn't like Eddie at all. So,
well, positively yells at him almost this time, though, that he's a movie star now.
Right,
he's still angry about it, but he's...
And then and then it just so happens again, he goes to find Judy, right? And he sees her like across the way in like a 99-cent store part. Was that one, right? Yep. Okay.
Yep.
And he runs over behind her and like, hey, whatever, what's going on, right?
And then this scene sucks too.
Yeah, this is just so dumb. So he runs over to her and then she just starts freaking out about losing her job.
Right. She's like, well, they're coming for you, Eddie. Like, you got to look out. Like, people came to the gas station with cameras. And he's like, well, Stillerman's stalking me. And Judy's really freaked out by the concept of stalking here.
Right.
Which I'm sure won't come back to bite us later.
No.
Judy says she needs her stupid job. It's not funny anymore. Eddie's like, I'm really embarrassed about it. Because neither of them has a concept of what's happening in real life.
No. Yeah. And there's also just he's not really explaining like what this,
not at all,
because he keeps hiding it from her because he doesn't want to see that he's a joke, right? Maybe that he's embarrassed.
Maybe it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
maddening.
Yeah, this is
truly maddening.
Oh my god! So we are about the halfway point in the movie at this point. So
yeah, he apologizes. Judy runs away.
Yeah.
Says she got to go to work.
He says he's going to fix it, right?
Right, exactly.
And he's like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So then...
I can't believe we're only halfway through.
Yeah, halfway through. So then he calls... This whole sequence is like, why? So he's calling Chris in the car, right? And he's asking for the Stillerman producer's phone number, right?
Who he calls
he left
Ratso,
a message. Yeah.
Which was kind of funny, but also dumb because his name's Ralph and Ratso's not a name.
Yeah. He's leaving a message for Chris and God damn it. So he shows up at a donut shop or something that also has internet cafe or something like that, right? So he asks the woman behind the counter if the computer has that search thing on it.
Has search. Yeah.
Has search. I mean, I already knew this, but he's an idiot.
She's like, yeah.
Yeah, sure is. And he searches for the Jamie Stillerman phone number,
which doesn't work.
Like, what is he expecting? Like, he's such an idiot. How would he even figure out what? I didn't know what the purpose of the scene was. Was it just to show him being dumb?
Yeah, maybe Google Pay for part of it. I don't know.
More like dumber.
I mean, it's worse later. Like, this, as dumb as this scene was, I feel like the one that they do later on that's the same scene is worse. Right?
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Oh my God. All right. So we're back at Eddie's apartment, right? And it's the morning at this point, right?
Yep.
And he's sleeping in his bed, and then the producer calls him and starts listing off a bunch of stuff about Eddie.
Right. He thinks it's his mom. The phone's ringing. He snaps out of it, and just listing information randomly.
And he's just like, "Yeah, I'm not going to go on TV unless I get paid."
Which apparently, though, there's a driver waiting outside his apartment. They're going to take him to the Hilton in Burbank, all expenses paid vacation.
That sounds dope.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I'm in.
But they want him to be on the show tonight. That's how they do it.
Yeah.
So he again asks how much. He says, "We don't pay, but it's good exposure." He says, "I can't pay the phone bill with exposure." Like that's I think the core premise of the movie again. And then he says to stop harassing my girl from the trailer and hangs up on him.
And we find out that Chris gave them his number.
Right. Yeah. Chris is a traitor. There's
a lot of phone number legality exchanges going on in this movie too, which we get into a little bit later.
Yeah.
He seriously just has no idea, how the world works here and what's going on. And this is so annoying. It was so annoying. So then someone comes and knocks at the door.
It's the driver from the limo that's outside waiting for him.
Oh, I thought it was
Burbank.
I thought they were two different people. That's why I was a little confused too. Because when he looks out the window, there's another guy leaning against the car, and when the door knocks, it's a different guy. And I'm like,
oh, maybe the driver.
Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So he sneaks out the window, and then we're in a car ride with Chris.
Yep, with Chris. Chris says they're gonna get appliances. I guess that's how they get compensated for.
Yeah, you get a free toaster and stuff like that. Come on the show. Here's a free thing, right? So then we get into discussing the politics and the ins and outs of the late night TV shows and how they make money. And maybe this is the part of like the satire or commentary about.
Yeah, I think so.
Famous in late night TV shows in particular. Like I'm like
sure. And this is also when Eddie gets smart enough to realize that they're promoting him being an idiot.
Yes.
Like Eddie is the smartest idiot in the movie generally.
Yes. Yeah.
For what it's worth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't like that, obviously. So they pull up to the gas station, asking for Judy. She's been replaced. We get a new guy. He's like, no, Judy's dead.
She gone. Sorry, man, you've lost two now.
all these cameras, really messing things up. So he knows it's his fault.
Yep.
And then people start recognizing him as the clapper.
Yeah. And he starts getting a little paparazzi kind of, harassment. People you should take a photo, man. Don't be that guy,
Right. Exactly.
So I guess that's more commentary about being famous and, how people are oddly obsessed with whatever's trending.
Heavy-handed.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just a billboard himself.
We could have used I don't know how we didn't think of this. We could have used the Fanatic as one of our Hollywood pitches.
Yeah, I guess we probably should have, huh?
Right? That would have been good.
Yeah, it would have been a good one.
Yeah. Mental health, more mental health. So, all right. So we're back at Eddie's apartment, right?
Probably eviction notice on the door. I don't think it was really clear, but it seems like it.
I didn't even see it. All I just saw was him sitting on the couch, kind of thinking and brooding, and that was it.
No, there's like a letter taped to his door with like something red written on it.
That's classic eviction notice.
Yeah, grabs that, goes inside, throws it on the counter, whatever.
Yeah.
Alan Thicke's on the TV, chanting pennies on the dollar as usual.
Classic Alan Thicke, right?
Yeah, he's just being a sad sack. And then he goes to the museum.
Yeah,
and then he goes to the burger place. They just like a montage.
Yeah, it's it's not a traditional montage. Yeah, but it's kind of he shows up at the museum.
Nothing happens, right?
No, it's just him standing at all the places he's been to before, right?
With Judy, right?
Yes, so he's trying to hoping to find Judy because at this point she's like, "Nah, leave me alone," right?
Mm-hmm.
Then he goes back to the donut house, the internet cafe, and he starts to type into the Google search just the name Judy.
Quickly follows it up with Judy gas station Melrose, which is so frustrating.
Why is this happening?
Like, I think this is the payoff from the setup earlier, but it's not payoff. It's useful. Leave this out.
Yeah. Write a different movie. So then we're back in his apartment again. Yeah. He's watching some late night infomercials, right?
Yep.
And then we get the Brian Wilson, Alan Thicke kind of, right? Isn't Alan Thicke selling something else?
It is always Alan Thicke. But this time he's selling Brian Wilson.
Right.
Yeah, shout out to Brian Wilson.
A little connection there.
I would love Brian Wilson on the podcast.
Yeah, sure.
Fuck you.
Yeah. And that's a connection that he has, right? Where he, because she's singing, did they have a thing over Brian Wilson earlier?
Yep. Love and Mercy, that same song. He's singing it again. He's promoting his greatest hits album, and that's what wakes Eddie up. He's like, oh man. And then they just kind of like show his face for a minute, and he looks frustrated. It's stupid. Yep. I hate this movie. I hate this. And then it cuts to like the next morning. Oh, he's just in bed now the next morning. Then he's driving.
Yeah.
Then he's at the studio immediately. Like they just don't show me all those things. Just show me the next thing.
Yeah, you can just go right to the studio lot. That's fine. We don't need anything else.
Yeah. It's choppy enough.
Yeah. So then Eddie and Chris show up in the area. They're going to meet producer and showrunner here, right? So Adam Levine and Levine.
Right.
And
Levine? I think Levine.
Yeah. Isn't Adam Levine that comedic actor, the comedy guy? Wasn't he in
Adam Devine?
Oh, Adam Devine. Okay.
D. Yeah.
All right.
Critical D.
So was it Levine or Levine? What did we decide on?
Levine. I think
Levine. Okay.
Yeah.
Levine, eh?
Levine.
So he's crazy, and he wants to promote because he's like, well, if this is all about promoting and blah blah, I want to promote Finding Judy from the gas station. He says this to them, and they're like,
right,
what?
Okay,
what? What's
wrong? You don't get paid for this, right?
Yeah, what's wrong with you? And then they have a thing about cakes, and there's a lot of cake hate going on.
Well, because the guy's like, hey, Eddie Cakes, and he's like,
that's not funny.
And then does a bunch of like different words for cake. It's not funny.
Yeah, none of it's working. Back in the green room.
Mm-hmm.
And is this some famous motivational speaker or something that we should know? I don't know him.
No, I don't know him either.
Just another cameo from someone that's not an actor, but famous, I guess.
Maybe, or it might just be an actor pretending to be
he came across as like not being a good actor. If he
not
was.
Pretending.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's possible in this movie too.
Anything is possible in this movie.
Yeah.
And he's going, this motivational speaker guy is kind of ranting on, and this is where he gives them some advice, right?
Yeah.
Take control of your destiny, don't let them control your destiny.
Love it. They talk about Peanuts, which I also love.
Yeah.
Not Peanuts, the food.
But the cartoon.
The cartoon, right?
You can't eat the peanuts.
That's right. Listeners know. But I love Peanuts, the cartoon. So
then we're on the show. Yeah, right?
Right.
Introduce him on the show. Big Joker vibes right here. Big Joker vibes.
Everyone's favorite audience member. Like they're mocking him immediately.
Yes.
Kind of.
And it's very cringy. He's being super weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else, right? I mean, Stillerman's like, nice to meet you, but...
they talk about... I think one of the important things is they show Chris on the green room cam.
Oh, yeah, right.
They're like, oh, you're just watching him like without his permission? And they're like, oh, no, this is funny. Like, of course he doesn't know that we're watching him. Like, ha ha ha, classic Chris, what an idiot.
Yeah.
And they talk more about like the $1 million situation, and Eddie, what if Van Damme was here? Like you'd pay Van Damme, wouldn't you? And everyone's like, no. Like, when are you from?
Trapped in the 90s, early 90s.
He starts promoting the Judy thing.
Yes. And he says, that's why I want to find Judy, right? So,
yeah.
And they keep flipping back to watching Chris read on the couch and how he's kind of, just there. So
basically like he's getting the audience on his side now, for like the first time, because they're all laughing at him. And he's like, look, if you want to make me a big joke, that's fine. I just want to find Judy. I want to sort things out. Everyone gets the old, oh, but then he's like, save the sympathy. And he starts yelling at, like, he's like, gets really combative for some reason.
Yeah. It's like, what is happening?
It's bizarre. And then he describes her. Stillerman wants a picture, and then he, like, all right, let's find a way to reunite them on the show. Yeah. That's the new premise of the movie. Reunite them on the show.
Then we're backstage with the showrunners here, and they offer to pay them, Chris and Eddie here, $5,000 an appearance per whatever skit or sketch or whatever, with a minimum of 5 appearances, right?
To do that man on the street thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is sick. Great offer. I would do that.
Yeah. Done. Sold. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And they agree. Eddie reluctantly.
Eddie's like not psyched about it because he doesn't trust these producers, which is reasonable.
Yeah, completely fair. Completely fair. Somewhere kind of gas station montage-ish in the street type of, right? This is him, the first kind of Eddie on the street.
Yep.
Joke from the trailer of him looking at the director, showrunner there, and look at the camera. Don't look at me. Look at the camera.
Yeah.
And this is kind of
just
like,
as not funny as it was in the trailer.
Yeah, and this is kind of like things are speeding up a bit and time's moving on here, and we get to see that he's doing pretty well with the show, and he's a country phenomenon at this point, right? Like everyone wants him to find Judy.
baddest motherfuckers in late night, as one of the producers says.
Right. Yeah. So they're crushing it. He's even on like Variety, cover of Variety magazine or something. So he's becoming a star. Right.
Right.
And then we cut to him at home watching episode of Stillerman. Right.
Yep. Watching his own show, basically.
Yep.
He's like, you could tell he's kind of coming around to it. Then it cuts to Louise.
Producer Louise. Yep.
Yeah. Leah Remini here.
Yep.
And Judy rolls up unexpectedly.
Yeah.
Says she's a friend of Eddie's.
Yeah.
And Louise is like, oh my God, get these idiots out of here.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, this Eddie? Pulls up the clip where, like the one clip from the TV where Eddie's talking about how she got fired from the gas station. Oh yeah, that Eddie. Then she like runs away.
So back on the Stillerman show, Eddie's back. They have Judy on the line, right?
Yeah.
This is so cringy. So they want to do a quick update on how things are, and now the entire country knows him, right?
It's been a month, apparently, is what they tell us.
Yeah. So she gets on the phone and she just starts freaking out now. She loses it, right?
Yep, exactly.
She got fired.
Why'd you make a joke about it?
Yeah, talking about getting fired from her job. Don't make a joke of it, blah, blah. And then she gets into calling him a stalker, right? Doesn't she throw on the stalker at this point?
Yeah, I think so. That's what she says. Yeah, stop harassing me. Like you're,
Yeah,
like,
that's not...
like, even if you didn't do it, like you're friendly with the people who got me fired. So you are playing right into everyone's hand here. I just want to...
None of this makes any sense. None of this makes any sense.
And it's like could all easily be avoided if anyone would talk to each other.
Yep.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah. So then he freaks out backstage about, getting her number. They're like, yeah, we can't legally do that, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, I want to call. And they're like, well, they're freaking out too because they're like, well, she did drop the word stalking and stuff like this, right? So
yeah, on the live feed. And he's like, no one even knows what a live feed means. Like,
dude, aren't you?
God damn it.
Oh my goodness. So then he, they give him a check, which he's like, I don't want to take this, but I will.
You can't say no. And the producers asked for a couple of days. They're like, we'll smooth this over. We just need a couple of days. And like at this point, I think the producers do feel a little bit bad because they're, Eddie just basically guilts him. He's like, this isn't what I wanted. And you knew that.
Yeah.
But they do it anyway.
So we're in a car ride, right? Eddie's dropping off Chris. I'm just confused by this. And like he drops off Chris and it's like they're having like this friend moment, which doesn't add up at all because Chris basically screwed him like 3 times. Gave him his number, didn't give him the letter. I don't know. It was really strange.
But also I think it was like kind of obvious that like despite all of those things, like Chris is they're still best friends as far as I know. Like that was never in question to me. Like, Chris is just a dum-dum and it's not his fault that he's
they're all
like you gotta right, exactly. Everyone here is a dum-dum. You can't just I don't know. It's frustrating. Basically, like, talking about how getting this money for doing something bad feels bad. Chris is like, Eddie, you're my friend. Like, of course I'll be there for you.
Oh my God.
Or whatever. Everything's gonna be okay. And then they high five.
Next day,
at a payphone, apparently,
he calls the producer and he's freaking out.
Yeah, he's like very angrily demanding to speak to Ralph.
Yeah, and it's like honestly, like this is again like where it just
be reasonable for a second.
What is this? What is this movie trying to say? What is going on?
I'm glad Judy escaped from this. I don't want her to be in a relationship with this angry man.
Yes, he's crazy. Yeah. He needs help, and
I
can't tell what this movie's trying to do. It's like trying to do too much or trying to, I don't know. I don't know. It's just, so he's losing his shit.
Talking to the producer.
And they're like, whoa, yeah, dude, like word stalker was thrown around,
do you have a criminal record? Like,
yeah.
We got to pause this. And Eddie doesn't get it. He like asked for Judy's number again. They're like, listen, that's not, I just said she's accusing you of being a stalker. Like we can't have this.
I'm not going to give you her number now,
And then basically he hangs up. People drive by the phone booth and shout, "We love you, Eddie." And he is furious about it. It's very frustrating.
So then we go into kind of a little bit of a montage, right? Where we're kind of getting time passing montage. We got shot of an apartment building with TVs turning on and off, and you get news in the background talking about Eddie and,
striking allegations involving everyone's favorite audience member, Eddie Grumble.
Yeah. And then Judy's at like shelter or apartment.
I thought it was like outside her apartment building, maybe. Or something.
Okay. Cue the sad indie music, right? When we get the producers, they're kind of doing a back and forth, arms raised. Eddie back at the gas station. I mean, he's definitely stalking her. And then we get a city
naked guy still there, naked Thomas.
Yep. And then we get a time lapse of traffic to show us time has passed, and then it's title card.
One day goes by for the time lapse, but then it's 6 months later.
6 months. 6 months later, we're back on Spider-Man. Hollywood Boulevard. Yeah. So Stillerman shows bringing Eddie back on TV for an update. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because what heals allegations? Just time.
That's right. Time heals all allegations.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
And they're doing like what we did. It's the return of the clapper. Did he find Judy? Like, let's find out.
Yeah. And then we cut to Queens, New York, right? And we got his mom.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah, his mom's character is funny.
Yeah. Not wanting him on TV, and they made a damn fool out of him, whatever. And
she's talking to her roommate, and her roommate's
Gladys,
like, well, it's good exposure.
Pack your bags, Gladys. We're heading out there. I was like, what is happening? Yeah. So
I love it.
Yeah. And then we're back on the Stillerman show.
Eddie and Chris are back.
Yep. They're catching up. No hard feelings, miscommunication. That's what they're all saying.
Yeah. They do like a bit about tragedy plus time that doesn't really work.
Yeah.
Because the script is not good.
So we're here, and then Eddie's mom just shows up on set.
They do like a very quick interlude of like Eddie's mom leaving a voicemail. I'm here with Gladys. I got to talk some sense into you, boy. Like you bozo. She calls Eddie a bozo. Throwing around the B word.
Yeah. Now we can see why he's got some problems, right? That's
seriously.
All from mom.
Cut to the studio where Stillman's introducing our heroes. Eddie and Chris are back.
Yep.
And he's like, we expected that you would not come back after the last incident. Like, oh
my God,
where did this all go wrong? Chris says at the beginning, which is kind of funny. Like,
all of his little chime in moments are pretty good. Tracy Morgan's, but
they all agree there's communication breakdown, and nobody's on the same page. Like, that's the real cause of the issue here. Nobody's trying to take advantage of anyone or anything.
No, of course not. So then what have you been up to? And they're just like, we're doing grand openings and stuff like that.
Yeah, at Ralph's grocery store.
Chuck E. Cheese thing. Shaking hands, taking pictures. And we get talking about what happened with Judy. And then that's when the mom just barges in on the set, right? She barges on the show.
Mrs. Crumble. I don't think we ever get her first name. We get Mrs. Crumble.
Yeah. And she just goes to town on Stillerman, just berating him, right? Making how he's making a fool of Eddie, blah, blah.
Justifiably, yeah.
Yes. And then Eddie's like, Mom, this is crazy. You're insane. And trying to tell her she's on TV. And it's like, oh, you can see where...
I know.
You can see where the craziness came from. So it runs in the family.
But then, she's making good points. Like, Eddie was just trying to find his girl. He's a good boy. And Stillerman's like trying to... Look, we love Eddie. We only want what's best for Eddie and Judy. Like, don't... And then she physically attacks him.
Yeah, goes after Stillerman.
An assault, right? It turns a little Joker on us.
On live TV. So...
meanwhile, we see Judy at a gas station.
Of course.
Classic. Right. He loves gas stations.
Yep.
Filling up her car, and she's watching all of this go down on live TV that is conveniently right next to the gas pump.
And first time ever she's seen TV. So...
Right. That's right.
And then this is when Eddie gives his big speech, right? His big Joker speech, basically, right? And they just
fight my own battles. No one's innocent. Like, I'm just gonna go. Things got away from us here.
It's all very cringy.
Stillerman says everything got away from everyone. Eddie's basically saying, like, we all had a role to play here. They're just doing their thing. We played our parts, but I lost the only person that was important in the whole thing, and that's what I want. And then he does a big thing about his dead wife.
Yeah, this is super cringy. This whole thing was cringy. And thinking about, like, this is on live TV and no one's going to react. Everyone's going to be like, what the fuck is happening right now? Yeah, and he goes on about his plan with his ex to win a boat on The Price is Right. And I was like, what?
What?
And he couldn't take it when she died, and he's breaking up, and Stillman Crew's kind of feeling pretty bad, right?
But then he got to know Judy.
Yeah.
And corny stuff like museums became fun. Which,
museums aren't corny.
Museums are cool.
Grand. Like, take advantage. Read a book and go to, read a book so you might not be such an idiot.
That's right.
And yeah, he says he just wants to find Judy and tell her he loves her, but she's watching.
Whoa. Dropping L-bombs.
Yeah. And he's she's watching, right? She's watching on the little TV there at the gas station. And yeah, this is just super cringy. It's all very cringy. Very cringy. Yeah.
And then very sad because he's like, well, I'll be fine with Chris. We're always fine. We've got to think at the supermarket tomorrow. National Nut Day.
Brutal.
Yeah. And then they just go making a living.
I'll be fine. I got Jared. We'll be fine.
We're always fine.
We're always fine. I got our big thing on ITMT.
Yeah. National Nut Day. Russ is going to finally kill me.
I mean, that'd be fitting, right? On so many levels.
Yep, that's right.
We're post Stillerman show here right outside the studio. And the Stillerman crew, generally feels bad. Stillerman and the two showrunners, right?
Yep, they come over to apologize. Mrs. Crumble's not having it, but
no. And they offer to do whatever they can to kind of help, right? And they all Team Eddie refuse, right?
And Eddie has not learned a lesson here, I don't think, because he's just like, well, TV is cool as long as the whole world isn't laughing at you.
Yeah, he's like, what?
Okay. And then they say goodbye, Mr. Stiegelman. Why?
Just
don't be that dumb.
Right? Yeah. And then they wish the guys a happy National Nut Day.
Yep.
And the other part about this is like, I guess the Stillerman show guys were supposed to be the villains, but but they didn't really feel like that, really.
Nope.
And
nope.
At the end, it's like, they learned their lesson of like, oh man, I guess we did humiliate this guy. It's like, I don't think they're gonna give a shit.
No, definitely not.
It's good. Yeah. It's good TV.
Yeah, they'll do it again.
Punching down and making fun of idiots. That's great TV.
Right.
Oh my god. Frustrating.
So, cut to National Nut Day.
Yes.
We're at the Ralph's or wherever.
Yeah.
Supermarket
grocery store here. Yeah.
Eddie and Chris sitting outside all alone. Eddie decides he's going to go get a drink.
This whole sequence is so stupid.
Yep. Out of nowhere, a dog in a wheelchair comes over with a note.
Oh my god.
The note just says, "Saw you on TV." It's like very cryptic and not like what? And then I think the half pig that we were talking about earlier maybe walks over.
He's just got a missing eye. He's got a patch in his eye.
Right. Half pig. And then Chris and Eddie are both confused when Judy finally walks out with a goat on a leash.
With one horn
goat.
Yeah.
Yep. And she just tells Eddie that she loves him also.
And then this was a very long, awkward, bizarre back and forth about loving each other.
Come on. You don't mean that.
Like, why? What is happening right now?
I love you. For real.
It's so weird. They keep acting weird. I'm like, what is happening? And it's still going on. It's really annoying. It's still going on right now. And then
to this day,
to this day, it's still happening. They're still being very awkward. Mm-hmm. And then he says, "Let's get married," and she agrees.
Yeah. Yep. And then they both jump up and down and celebrate. She says she misses him.
And then we get a freeze frame on them hugging, which I love that.
Fade to black.
Cut to black, and we got some animal noises chiming in, right?
Yeah.
Pig noses, pigs and goats. And it's wedding day.
Outside of the wedding. Yeah.
Yeah. It's wedding day.
We're doing pictures.
Yep. With all the entire cast of characters that we've seen throughout the entire movie, right? Pretty much.
Yep. Including, I think, Naked Thomas with clothes.
I think so. And then Hercules, who hated Eddie, he's there too. Like, why would he
also
he fired
smiling and waving?
He fired Judy. Like, why would they invite him?
Yep. Because he's a character in the movie, and that's what they're doing.
Okay, right.
Like doing the indie music thing. Everyone's just like dancing and waving at the camera, and then credits roll, and then it gets worse.
I almost missed it.
Gets worse.
I almost missed these.
No, you were gonna shut it off.
Well, smart. Yeah, I had it. I just had it running while I was like closing things out, and it took a long time before these.
Yes.
I don't know if they're really outtakes. I think they were just scenes of part of the life of these characters living in the movie. Like, they weren't like bloopers and like that. It was just
a couple of them were kind of bloopery, but yes.
Oh, were they? I felt like they were just like scenes they just cut.
They were mostly that.
Yeah, it wasn't like any breaking of character and like that. I don't know. Yeah, but they started really late in the credits. I almost missed it.
So they're doing it's all just like infomercials. Eddie doing sit-ups and stuff. Yeah. It's dumb. Yeah. And then
None of it's funny.
Alan Thicke comes into focus.
Doing the part of the infomercial.
Yep. Right? Being a jerk in memory of Alan Thicke, it says on the screen.
Like,
what a horrible tribute. Like, what a nightmare.
Absolutely horrible. And so cringy. Like, even the memory of Alan Thicke, like them presenting this was cringy. I was like embarrassed for everything that was going on. I'm like, who
approved this?
Who was like, yeah, you know what? This works. Like, what?
There were like 11 movie studios involved in making of this. They all agreed to give them money.
Not one of them was like,
yeah, maybe cut that part.
Like, what?
Yeah, in memory of Alan Thicke. What a tribute.
Yep.
Russ, I'd like to dedicate this episode of the pod to the memory of Alan Thicke. What do you think?
I'm on board with that. Absolutely.
What a fitting tribute. Fuck you, Alan Thicke, and hope you're rolling in your grave. What a shitty movie. Way to go out.
Yeah. I hope you're pissed that this is how they did it.
Yep. In memory of Alan Thicke. And
that's how it ends. Yeah.
No redeeming qualities.
No, I'm trying to think of something. This is a painful one. This is a really painful movie. So I would just not even bother. I
couldn't agree more.
This one you shouldn't. Even though we say maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't. So
yeah, agreed.
All right. Well, I think
take us home.
Yeah, I think this is it. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll be back next week with a new movie. In the meantime, you can follow us on Instagram at It's This Meets That, or ITMTpod on Twitter. Remember, you're listening to us right now, Google, Apple, Spotify, follow, subscribe, whatever it is you need to do over there.
And while you're subscribing, you can leave us a review. That would be nice. Greatly appreciated. Helps other people find us. Or if you want to give us feedback, not in a public forum, you can send us an email, and which we'll make into a public forum. We'll read it on an episode. It's thismeetsthat@gmail.com. Or if you forgot everything that we just said, you can go to the website where all the information is about us, about the pod, all our social links, whatever you want to do. It's thismeetsthat.com, right? In memory of Alan Thicke.
Memory of Alan Thicke.